different day, different agenda, man. Curtis Jones, is he better than Bellingham? Is he better than Declan Rice? We're sure to chop it up. Zbir in the building, Cav in the building. Big up to everyone in the chat. I've got a few questions, by the way, lads. I can't prepare today, man. I've got questions for the man them still. I've got them tied, everything waiting to release them. But the show is mainly around Curtis Jones, though. I want to hear what you guys think, obviously, from his performance yesterday for England. What does it look like for him going forward? And the last 4 man of the matches has been from a Liverpool player, man. Scousers only, bro. Trent won 3, and now Curtis has won the next one. But, lads, hopefully you guys had a good day so far, man. I've had a great day. Zubiri, Cav, how's your day been?
Good, man. I thought Pickford got man of the match in that game, but
No. Curtis Jones.
Another day off.
Curtis Jones. Jones only, bro. That's the only man that's picking up man of the match. What about you, Gav?
How am I? Yeah, I'm good. No, I'm good. This is my last day off of the week off. It's not really been a week off though. It's been a week off work, a week on the house stuff. So I'm probably more tired after this week off than I would on a usual week. So ending it with the podcast for you guys. And some good positive things to talk about Liverpool players. So pleased about that. I personally thought Curtis Jones was man of the match. He got the award as you're showing there, but I would have given it him anyway. Probably biased being a Liverpool fan, but I actually just felt like he was a standout in that game. And I was messaging my mate at half time, and I was just like, he just looks so much more cultured, so much calmer, so much more, I don't know, just a different ilk about him to the other players. So pleased for him. Pleased that I'm not sure if it's a dedicated show, but we're spending a minute to talk about him because I think his performances and his talent warrants a little conversation. So yeah, I look forward to it.
No, 100%. That is the first question, man. What did you guys think of Curtis Jones' performance for England yesterday? For me personally, man, I thought exactly what you said. It's outstanding, bro. I felt like it was just an option throughout the night. It felt like that's what England's been missing. It felt like, we've seen Declan Rice, we've seen the Mainus, we've seen Gallagher's. Who else have we seen in there? The Phillips. We've seen so many different options in there. Angel Gomez of recent games as well. But Curtis Jones, the way he just stepped in, man, he just looked seamless, looked easy. Like every time he got on the ball, it felt like he was running the game. And when they stopped using him, it felt like that's where England lost control. What do you think? What do you guys think? Because for me,
I felt like there was periods of the game where he was trying not to get on the ball too much and be the total tempo dictator. I think he's one of those players where he has talent. He can play numerous positions. He's comfortable receiving the ball. He's comfortable playing short. He's comfortable carrying the ball. And I think he kind of tailors his game a little bit to suit what teammates are around him and obviously what the manager's asking him to do. He does that with Liverpool and the different positions he plays. And then obviously making his debut for England. I felt like he was in the first half sort of figuring it out a little bit, but also not trying to step in and get on the ball. But you could tell from his calmness and his composure and his confidence in receiving the ball that it wasn't anything, he wasn't shying away from things, and it was only a matter of time before he was going to get more touches and be like, you know what, I'm just going to take hold of this. I'm the guy in the middle of the park that's able to dictate here. I've been nicey. Now I'm going to start getting on the ball and dictating this tempo. And for me, his game improved as the minutes went on, and he started to just do really simple but effective things like receiving the ball, giving it to a player despite them, perhaps being under pressure from the opposition, but receiving it again, passing it, showing for it, keeping the ball moving, not holding on for it for too long, which has been a criticism of his. Something that I personally don't like to see, because unless you're trying to see out a game, I never see why there's a reason to hold on to the ball at your feet. Just play a pass, even if it's to receive it again. Keep that ball moving. And I feel like that's something he was doing, and he was keeping the tempo. And it just pulls others into the game. It gives everybody a touch. He just become a pivot. And I just felt like as the game went on, just started to dictate. He started to control the tempo. He's then threading nice passes into players that can be more effective at the top end of the pitch. The goal aside, and the little bit of skill he did on the wing in the second half, I was pleased to see that he got them two things in the game, because I feel like they're the things that grab people's attention. Because I think Curtis plays a game where he perhaps will be underappreciated for all the little effective things he does in the game. Whereas when you get a goal and you get an assist, or you just have a moment of that magic, it really then goes, oh, actually, he's had a really good game, hasn't he? You know, and I'm talking about rival fans and people that perhaps don't follow him quite like we do. So I just think he was great on and off the ball yesterday, and you can tell he's just got so much maturity, so much talent, so much skill. But it's about using it at the right time and finding yourself in the game, and he managed to do that as it went on.
Nah, that flip flap was so cold. What about you, Zabir? I don't know how much of the game did you catch to kind of analyze it, but what was your thoughts on his performance yesterday?
I thought it was calm, and I thought it was a decent 7 out of 10. Without the goal. The goal was kind of brilliant still. So I'd give him his credit for that, and the ability to even try it and pull it off. But yeah, and I think it was just a calm performance, man. I think the goal definitely took it over the top. He only had one shot, and the one shot is the one little flick. So if you scale that into the way you view football, you go the whole game doing all the basics right, and you get one flick towards goal and it went in. That's basically how his game and day went. I don't really feel like he was bossing it and was over the top. And nah, man, I think it was just a normal performance. Real 7 out of 10, solid. Didn't really put a foot wrong. Won most of his rules. Got a bunch of recoveries in there as well. Really good in the what was it, like a double pivot, wasn't it?
The double pivot with Gallagher.
Yeah, so I think I was telling, maybe it was you, man, Quasi, or even a Asian massive like Curtis next to Gravenberch in that double pivot. It's a lot more effective and it's a lot better than McAllister. Well, a lot of people like, want to see him up top, and for me, I think that's where he belongs. I think he belongs like in that McAllister spot. And if that's where England is going to use him, I don't know. I'd love to see him next to a Rice. I'd love to see him with some other players in the team and see how he gets on then. But this team was a real makeshift team and didn't even have like a solid manager. So I don't know. I think they did give him man of the match, but for me, I think it was Pickford, man, all the way up there. You know, the exaggerated dives. I think he had about 5 saves, about 2 or 3 sweeper keeper type of actions. For a goalkeeper, that usually gets you man of the match. So I felt like it's a bit, of a charity case, just giving it to Curtis. Man got 1 flick, 1 goal, and score. I was like, you're definitely the man of the match. It's like, all right, bro.
I think he did great though, man, to be fair. You're right though. I think Pickford was really good. That's probably one of the best performances I've seen from him.
No, but
composed.
Normally a goalkeeper with them stats and them saves with a clean sheet, hands down, get man of the match, unless there's like an over-the-top outfield performance. None of the performance in the outfield was like really over the top. Most of them was like a 7.5, 7. I mean, I think it boils down to now, who do you really rate? Because if you really rate like Jude, you're like, nah, Jude had a way better game because he almost scored 2. So I'm trying to say, so that's why for me, none of the outfield player really outshine like that. You know what I mean? So, but nah, man, Curtis was calm. It's a calm look. Hopefully the coaching staff and the coach that's coming in can look to him and go, you know what, I can use him in some moments. But I'd love to see him next to a Rice. And hopefully when he comes back, I'd love to see him next to Gravenberch, man.
What about this one then, boys? Open panel for this one. Why is it taking this long for England to give him a call up?
Because he's never been cooking consistently. He's never had more than a good 10 games running. And even in the 10 games, only 6 of those was really up there. No disrespect to the guy. If you even scale that out, that's 6 out of 10. So I'm giving him 7 out of 10. So he definitely edged it up a little bit. So that's why it kind of took so long. He's never really had a real run of anything. Like, it's really tough to call up on a fringe man in a fringe team. He's never been a nailed-on guy for us. So it's kind of like why he gets overlooked. He's not like what's the big-headed dude, Harry Maguire, who's had a run. Nah, because he had a serious run at Leicester, right? He had a serious run at Man U. The performances did, but because of his previous run and contribution, you can see that merits a call-up. For Jones and these young players, bro, you can't be just on the fringes in your main team and expect to get a call-up. Like, you have to get a solid run, and I feel like this season he has gotten a solid run week in, week out. He's coming off the bench or starting. Now the managers really have a sample size to say, you know what, I see something there. Even Watkins was a fringe man for the longest. Now you're starting to see him more regular. So I think this might be the first of a couple call-ups for him, man. So we'll see how he gets on. But yeah, he's been at Liverpool for about 4 or 5 years, and within them 4 or 5 years, he's never strung 10 games together. Can't call up a man on for that. And if my international manager call up a man for that, bro, I'm telling that manager to get sacked, bro. Can't call up a man that don't put 10 games together.
I think Zabir is right. It's his availability, which has always been his downfall. Really, is not being able to put a consistent amount of games together. Form as well. Although I think he does well when he steps in. Maybe not in the first game he returns or the second, but if he gets 3, 4, 5 games under his belt, you really start to see the performances pick up. And he's just not had them appearances and that form at the right times to warrant being selected for England. I also think that he's a player that, because he's quite versatile and he can play numerous positions, it's too difficult to see where to fit him in that England side when you are up against someone like Phillips and Rice and Mainu, because they're players that you know what you're going to get out of them and you're going to slot them into certain positions. Whereas with Curtis, it's like he can do a job for you there, but he can do so much else as well. So are we going to commit to having a midfielder that's solely defensive? Are we going to have one that's going to burst forward as well? Or we're going to have Curtis that can do a bit of both. And with Jude in the side and, wanting to be that guy that, is further forward and drops deep and dictates, you have a bit of clash. You have a bit of a clash there. But they managed to figure that out between themselves yesterday on the pitch. Me personally, I know I'm biased, but I think that England have missed a player like Curtis Jones for the longest time. They've got so much talent, especially in the forward areas, but they need that guy in the middle of the park to be able to do a bit of everything and just knit it all together. And Curtis is able to offer that. Yes, he probably needs somebody beside him that's a bit more defensive. But I do think that he's a bit of an enabler for everybody else, gets everybody involved in the game, is able to carry the ball, is able to receive it under pressure, is able to, just keep hold of it when need be. And England, for all their talent, don't possess a lot of control in games when they come up against the big sides. And you need players that are used to and comfortable, just getting the ball, receiving it under pressure, playing simple facets just so that you keep the tempo in the game, just so everybody keeps a touch in the game, just, buy a foul, all these things that just calm heads are able to gain you control in the game, he offers. So I hope that he stays fit, because you can see from his performance yesterday how he would be an effective player for England. But that's always the question, isn't it? How long is he gonna stay fit for? And to be honest, he's had some pretty unfortunate injuries and stuff as well. They've not always just been like knocks and strains and stuff like that. He's had some strange stuff in there as well. So hopefully he's sort of over those now and he can find that form. But I'm pleased for him, because I think that players that keep their head down and work hard and don't talk too much and don't get too he never talks up his game. He never oversells himself. He never comes out when he's in good vein of form and speaks too much or anything like that. He's always just remained really grounded, and he's letting every single time he lets his talent show. For some people, they don't see it, but for the ones that do, really believe in him as a player. And I think people like that deserve rewards like this, where the hard work pays off and not, just a little bit of limelight or what have you, because he's been grafting for years. He's not burst onto the scene. He's been developing his game in the background for a very long time. Been a great student under Klopp and people prior. So his education and that understanding of the game is really starting to show within his actual football now, which is, like I say, for all the talent England have got, I don't think they've got them kind of players that possess that real understanding and education and intelligence of the game. They've just got raw ability, Not all of them, but, I'd say he's a standout figure in that respect.
Gerard said, what a player. Find the FA and all the coaches for being late. Obviously, Gerard backing his guy. in terms of he's always been trying to tell us about how good Curtis is. But when we first saw him, though, he was more of like a left winger, attacking midfield type of midfielder. He wasn't this more box to box, controlled, tempo driven type of player. That's not what I saw from him anyway. He was very technical, very good at dribbling, and he had an eye for a goal. He used to get in the box, be able to beat players with ease, and then finish it off. I did see this comment here from Red for Life. Where did this quote from? He's where is it? The recent run of form. In my opinion, he touches the ball a bit too much because sometimes he's a bit overconfident. You need to tell me where Arne Slot said that. That's interesting that he said that.
I don't think you can say that. I don't think that's something you can say to him, though. You don't want him to lose that confidence. You don't want him to second guess himself, because that's when he starts changing his game. And his game at the minute is really, I'll receive the ball deep, I'll receive the ball further up the pitch. I don't care. I'm just going to find a pocket and receive it and give it, or I'm going to carry it. You don't want to make, you don't want that to get back to him and that to affect his game, because suddenly then he's not receiving the ball. Suddenly then he goes missing in games, and that's not what you want, is it? So
exactly.
You don't want him to move too far away from what his current game is, to be honest.
What about this one, boys? Is he the best all-round midfielder we have for Liverpool? If no, why? And if yes, why?
Nah.
Is he the best?
I don't think he's the best at driving with the ball. So when you say all around, there are going to be some areas where other players have more quality and ability than him. I don't really want to put Elliot up there as far as like being above him, but I have more examples from Elliot. So like that little fox in the 10 area that's like sliding some wicked passing. I've seen more from the other guys than Curtis. Now, Curtis did put a decent one in from Diaz, but to your analogy, that's just putting it into the space. Diaz had to like really be crafted and run in behind the guy the way he did and get in there. So it's not like I can be like, oh man, that pass is up there. It's just putting it into the space, dangerous space. Diaz run onto it. So I don't think he's the best at driving with the ball and like a McAllister type of Thiago disguise pass and them no look pass. So I don't know what you call it, like a maverick or just like a out and out creator. I don't think he's the best in them two categories, but all the other categories, I definitely think if you put your money on them, you wouldn't be wrong to do so. As far as like tackling, recoveries, tracking back, pressing, energy, getting up and down the pitch. In all of them other categories, his name is definitely going to be up there. But driving with the ball, bro, yeah, I don't think that's his. Creativity, I don't think that's his per se. So those are the only two categories that he might have to work on for me to say all round. You see, like a Gerrard was all round. It's fair to say Curtis is that all round, because those players they don't really come around very often.
I'm trying to think, what is he missing from his game? He can carry the ball. Is he the best at it? I don't know, but it's
but that's what I'm saying.
Yeah,
that's what I'm saying. He has them, but I wouldn't say he's the best at it.
Yeah, I think he probably needs more big moments in big ties, to be honest with you. Like the goal yesterday was great, but it'd be nice if we went into, say, Man City, Real Madrid, that's coming up very quickly for us, and he puts in the same level of performance. He chips in with a goal or an assist. He gets them moments in big games, so that you can actually begin to think of him as a player that starts dictating big moments.
Or
at the minute,
player. I don't think he's the most impactful either. Elliot got that impact shit going down right now, even though he's not available. But so to your point, Cav, if he did do that, where we're like, every game he's having an impact, I'd be like, all right, calm. I don't think he got any man of the match for us yet this season.
Chelsea.
Oh, he got it for Chelsea?
And he got it, and he could obviously scored the winning goal as well, didn't he? Technically, he was obviously 2-1, so he got the second goal. But his performance in that game was really good because he had to do a job on Cole Palmer in that game, didn't he?
Oh, yeah. That's the game he definitely locked him up. Jesus Christ.
I think like it's about putting consistent performances together, isn't it? Like I was about to say he needs to contribute with goals and assists on a more regular basis, but then I actually remembered that Gravenberch is probably the first name on the team sheet for us at the minute, and that's not based on goals and assists. That's based on performance and what he gives to the team. And Curtis probably needs to put a consistent run of good performances together. So we think of him about how we think of Gravenberch, where it's just like we're so much better with him, and we have been for say 10 games now. 10 starts, or maybe he gets rested in 1 or 2 of them. But we need to look back at a 10-15 game run where we just think we're so much better as a side for having Curtis Jones in there, where like we do it in the minute for Gravenberch. I mean, if you take Gravenberch out of this side, where would we be at this point in the season? Probably not top of the Champions League group and top of the Premier League. So we need to start to see that consistency, so we can think the same about Curtis Jones. But he's capable. It's just a matter of time, isn't it? And it feels like he's had them periods in the past. Most notably where we were playing that sort of forward 4 at the end of a couple of seasons ago, and he was sort of chipping in. Just like Lampard in the box, just managing to find space and took him away. And then obviously, I think the next season he starts off well, but he gets injured, and that's the tail of it, unfortunately. So he just needs to stay fit. He needs to, just be consistent and just keep putting them games away. The goals and assists would be nice, but I don't think they're completely necessary for us to feel like he's got to start in this team. Whereas at the minute, I think it'd be fair to say if you're starting Gravenberch and McAllister and Curtis is in there, you're like, yeah, cool. But then if Szoboszlai or Elliott's in there as well, you're like, I'd probably like to see Curtis, but it's not the end of the world. Whereas if you don't see Gravenberch on the team sheet in the minute, you're a bit like, oh, this could affect how we're going to perform today. And I think Curtis needs to perform regularly to get us to feel like that about him.
All right. What about this one then, Zubiri? Might as well go on this one. Moving forward, is he the best option in the midfield for Liverpool and England? Can't hear you. Mute. If you're
best option.
Is he the best option moving forward in the midfield for Liverpool and England?
I don't know about England. For us at the moment with the current crop of players, yes, until Elliott gets back. I think Elliott might have a say so. Here's why. I think Gravenberch started about 8 or 11 games, and he only got 1 assist in the Prem. Curtis started about 4. He got 1 goal, 1 assist. So it's not like he's making the spot his, which is something that me and you and Savage talk about. Well, me specifically. Bro, when you're given the shirt, you have to make sure whoever's coming back don't even stand a chance. And I feel like right now, Gravenberch and Curtis haven't really made that attacking or that 10 role theirs, bro. So Elliott comes back and get 2 assists in 1 game, bro, and then get an assist in the next game. He's already jumped past both of them just off 2 games. So that would be a man that's making an impact. So there's no excuse for him. Like to what Cav said, when Gravenberch is on the pitch, bro, you see what he's doing, and it doesn't work. True. Goal and assist. Curtis don't really have a lot of them games where you're like, you're right. Thank God Curtis was up in there. He has come on and was like the pass before the assist, and I'll give him that. Like Brighton, he was definitely impactful. Come on, did a 1-2 with Diaz. So he definitely has his moments, but they're not consistent. He's never been, like I said, a solid 5-10 games in. We've only been 11 games in now, but I don't feel like he's made that spot his. I don't feel like none of them, McAllister, Szoboszlai, or Curtis, made the midfield theirs. If there's a better player, believe me, them 3 players won't be on the pitch. Whereas a Gravenberch, we know for a fact, Gravenberch, yeah, that's his spot. The rest of the men, they're just there by default, bro.
I think McAllister is an interesting conversation as well, because I think it'd be fair to say that he looks a little bit tired, like a lot of football's caught up with him a little bit, and we all know that he can perform a lot better than he probably has started this season, and that will play a part into Curtis Jones's time on the pitch as well, because if McAllister does manage to find that form and does manage to find that sort of spark again in his game, I don't think he's been as bad as everybody's kind of said, to be honest with you. But we all know he can go up a few levels. If he does that, for me, he becomes a better option in his position than Curtis again. So that's the challenge that Curtis has got as well. Like, whilst Elliott's out, he's competing with Szoboszlai in that 10 position, and I think for Liverpool, he should be the first name on the team sheet in that position, and Szoboszlai for the time being should be back up, rotated in and out, obviously. But when it comes to him versus McAllister, I think on current form, yes, I'd pick Curtis over McAllister, but I think come the end of the season or in the next few weeks, McAllister raises his game and suddenly then he cements that spot again. So I think that's the challenge Curtis has got. He can play numerous positions, but who is competing against the probably not far off, or you kind of expect to.
Is he frozen?
Hurrah, man, froze up, bro. I thought it was
froze in the middle of the
yeah, but you know what he's saying there. I do agree, and I don't know if he's leaning all the way into this, but if every player is fit and on form, I don't think Curtis start, and that is the issue for me. Has nothing to do with whether he's good enough for us or not. That's not the conversation. But Elliott, as impactful as Elliott has been, depending on the game, you wouldn't mind if Elliott start over him. If the Szoboszlai that we know of pre-Liverpool turned up, I don't think we moan if he has Curtis sitting on the bench. If McAllister plays to the level that we know he can hit, I don't think we see a Curtis. Now, the tricky one for me now is, before this season, everyone would have put in Curtis over Gravenberch.
Yeah, that's true.
So what I'm trying to show you is a man that was behind you stepped up. Now you can't even look at his spot. Now imagine if the other two guys that everyone already put ahead of you stepped up. You're back to playing second fiddle, bro. So now Curtis is playing second fiddle. Are you going to be mad that the England manager ain't calling him up because the midfield is too cold and he can't get in there to show off his ability?
What about now then? Because look, McAllister ain't been playing like at his best. Sobo is definitely not playing at his best. So isn't this the right moment now for him to solidify a position in this team now and go, I am the guy now? England at the moment, Declan Rice injured. They can't really find the guy that's going to do the double pivot. No one knows. Is it going to be Gallagher? Can you not, like, isn't now the moment, new manager coming in? Isn't like now with his teammates at Liverpool not doing well from a midfield standpoint, the England team with a new manager, this is the perfect moment for him to take a position on both ends.
You know what that means, though? You know what that means? That means if come March and Curtis don't have more than 5 England call-ups or 5 England games, just no blood. Didn't take the opportunity. Because he's getting the opportunity now, bro. Honestly, I think you should start over McAllister.
Him and Gravenberch.
Yeah, in the double pivot, bro. Because then you're building that solid partnership. They both young, bro. Him and Gravenberch, they can boss that midfield for the next 3 to 5 years, bro. You know what that looks like? That looks like some 2 midfielders dominating, fam. He goes on a run like that, yeah, you can definitely see him in the England squad. But I'm telling you, Slot keeps picking McAllister over him. Dominic Szoboszlai hit form. Bro, Curtis just become a fringe man. Elliott comes back and very impactful off the bench. Now he's playing third choice. Bro, you can't be an international manager calling up the third choice guy. It makes no sense. You're better off going to get Elliott. But you can't, because then Elliott is going to be doing what? Competing with a man like Bellingham in that, bro. Bro, if Curtis can't take this opportunity right now to make that shirt his, bro, yeah, that's all on him, man. It ain't got nothing to do with no manager being late or the FA getting fined. Curtis needs to be fined, bro. Bro, man been at Liverpool way too long to not be able to make a mainstay in the midfield. But you know how many midfielders we bought, bro?
I know, but that's harsh, Zabir. At that time, bro, no one was getting in. When he broke through, no one was getting in. Endo, Genie, fam. You weren't getting in, bro. You were, no matter what you did. Machine 3, no one, bro. Klopp told you, blood. How can I improve? How can I improve on this midfield? That's what he said.
But he went and got Ox. He went and got Naby.
True.
He went and got Arthur Mello. Bro, he went and got Manning for the midfield, bro. Like, I'm not buying that, bro. That tells me Curtis never really grabbed. Yo, yeah, Curtis doesn't have that, bro. Like, as
a bit more mature. Okay, he's 23 now, Zabir, yeah?
Yeah.
He's a father now, so, there's the added age. He's probably about 26 now, you know what I mean? That adds on about 3 years.
Mm-hmm.
Bit more. He must be a bit more mature now in his mind. His performances look a lot more mature. Before, he used to be scatty all over the place. But I've looked at his start of this season, since he stepped into the team and actually playing. Obviously, he had the injury, didn't he, at the start of the season with the groin injury. Come back in. I've seen his performance a bit more mature than what it used to be.
No, I'm not debating that, Enz. Not debating that. That is 100% correct. He looks more settled. Like, you remember when Slat first came in and he said something about the happiest I've ever been, and oh my God, the training, and we're trying to peel it back and saying, yo, you only had one manager. So anything different from the one manager might seem like the best thing in the world from this no-name manager. I'm calling him a no-name manager. But what I want you to understand is he was around one of the coldest midfield ever, where the midfield wasn't there for goals and assists or tricks and flicks and step overs. It was just there to work, and it was working, fam. And since then, we've brought in Genie, Ox, Arthur Mello, Elliott, Carvalho, Sabazalai, Gravenberch, McAllister. That's 8 midfielders, bro. This man been here for 6 years. That's 8 midfielders, bro. And at one point or another, them 8 midfielders had a somewhat of a claim in there. Bro, you've been here and watched 8 men come in, bro. Not counting the 3 that been there. And I didn't even put Milner in that 3, which he should have been in there. It's more like a 4. But you see what I'm trying to say? So he's been around 12 to 14 midfielders, bro. In and out this team, bro. And he can't even make the shirt his. That's all down to him. I know you're saying he's a kid, but when Trent came in for Klein, yeah, that right back spot was just locked off, wasn't it?
He took it still.
Kwanzaa came in, bro. Matip looked around and said, yeah, this new contract ain't going to contract anymore. You see what I'm saying? So it's like when you're a young player and you get these opportunities, it's really on you to make it yours. And I'll show you the comparison now. Mainu at Man United. I got a Man U fan telling me about this guy for the longest. Nah, he needs to play this kid we got named Mainu. And I'm like, the fuck is he talking about? I don't know this guy. The guy got about 5 running the team, bro. And it looked like he belonged there and looked like he needs to stay there. To the point where England is like, yo, nah, this guy comes in, made the midfield his. And they gave him his call-up. From a Liverpool fan, like, yo, how is he getting a call-up over our guys? But our guys never had that running, never had that impact when they come in. You see what I'm trying to say? It's different levels of impact on the big stage. And for me, he's starting to do it now. But, yo, he's lucky these fans are patient, fam. He's lucky this new manager is willing to give him a shot, bro. Because if it was me, fam, 6 years, I mean, you got to go, man. 23 or not, bro. You got to go, bro. You've been there since you're 17. Nah, man. Means you ain't it. I've seen Jack Wilshere at 16. I've seen Walcott at 16. I've seen Foden at 16. These men all came in, made a massive impact. Mainu, massive impact. You've been around since you're 17, bro. You're making your impact at 23. Were you a late bloomer, bro?
But would the context not be? I can't say for the Foden one because Man City, when he came in, Man City had a cold team anyway. But Mainu came in when there was no one in the midfield, so he's going to always shine. So he was always going to stand out. Walcott for Arsenal, he came in off the back of when the legends were leaving. So he was just quick, energetic. He just looked like, he was just that guy. But he was mainly his speed because you came to realize weren't that good of a footballer.
Got speed for days.
Yeah, that's, you know what I mean. And then, but Wilshere, I'll give you that one. Wilshere was cold, man. He came in, you could see what he was about. But at the same time, you know what I mean. Was there anyone in the midfield? I can't remember that far back. Obviously, Arsenal ain't my team, so I'm not.
No, but even Basecic, when Basecic got his little run in, even though we know he was fragile and a little lanky in there, bro, we all hold our head like, yo, nah, this guy. I remember Cav was just like, yo, nah, yeah, let him start.
I still feel like that. I'm disappointed he got loaned out.
But Curtis never really hit us that way, and that's what I'm trying to say.
Mm.
He like even when Elliot was doing the impact thing off the bench, we're like, yo, every man's coming in here making a bigger wave than Curtis. Curtis dropping them little pebbles in the water, bro. Man throwing these big rocks in there, bro. Massive eruption and ripple. Man, bro, we've never called Curtis an impact sub. We dub Elliot that.
I think it's just a different style though of footballer, isn't it? Like, it's just got a different game. He's not. I know what you're saying about that. It's crazy to say because he actually did play further forward when he was younger, you know, and he was a prolific goal scorer as well. But since he's come into that Liverpool side, he's had to sort of tailor his game to get in. And in some ways, you can kind of say, you know, give him credit for doing that. Because what was the side when he first made his debut? Would it have been a midfield of Wijnaldum, Henderson, and Milner?
I'm fabbing them, man. Yeah,
so that's the profile that, you know, the team at the time required, that kind of profile in its midfield. So there wasn't really a place for him as a number 10 or as a left winger. He had to tailor his game to get in there, and you can credit him for doing that. But at the same time, you could probably say, well, if you were good enough, you'd have gotten, you know, in your actual position. So I think he's just one of those, like I said earlier, he's a student of the game. He's tailored his game. He's learning. He's doing what he can to find a position in the team, and you've got to credit him for that. But it would be nice for him to now cement a position and just focus on what he needs to do in that position, and then this just grow and grow and grow. But yeah, for the longest time, he's done a job in various different positions. I mean, most recently when he played for, was it the under-21s for England? He played as a 6, and you know, he obviously did incredibly well in that tournament. You know, and then you're looking at him thinking, okay, well, is that his position now? And then obviously he comes into Liverpool, he plays in the 10. You think, okay, he's further forward, and so sometimes being good in so many positions in so many ways becomes a little bit of a hindrance if you're only good to really good in them positions without being great, you know. And that's been his kind of thing, a little bit like Gakpo, but Gakpo's kind of had that sustained period now where you just go, yeah, he's a left winger, like gets goals, killer performances, red hot form in that position. Let's just not have the conversation anymore. Let's leave him there. Curtis kind of needs a little bit of that, where it's like, now's your opportunity to play in the 10 for Liverpool. Focus on playing in the 10. Make that your own, and let's you know, we know if need be, it's a long season, injuries happen. If you need to go into McAllister's spot, or you need to go into Gravenberch's spot, or you need to play as a 6 in a different kind of way, you can do it. But it shouldn't be your focus. It should just be, let's nail down this number 10 position. Let me try and shake off the versatility tag, because I want to play here, because look how good I am. And that's probably what's going to elevate him from being a really good option to he has to play. You know, he has to play. In my opinion, I think that's what he requires now.
I got a question, because it's either one or the other, but I'm just putting one of them in there, and the one I'm putting in there is team. Who lets him down more, the team or the manager? And the reason why I put the team in there, you see how City would bet up a team 5-1, 4-1, 6-1, and then there's 10 minutes to go. Bro, you've given the manager no choice but to say, yo, little Phil, come here. Go get a run out, man, because the team already took care of business. Our team didn't really necessarily do that a lot. So when Klopp was like, yeah, we're better off keeping him around the first team, what's the point of keeping him around the first team if he can't even get 5 minutes here or there to work on his game? Bro, man's been here since he was 17. I personally think he should have went out on loan. Klopp said, yo, there's no need. You want him to keep him with the first team so you can develop in the right way. But he didn't get a lot of game time because of that. But now I'm thinking about Trey, and it's almost like the only way that works is if the team is winning, allowing them moments in time to come into the game. Because no one is going to depend on Curtis to come into a 2-1 or a 2-0 to turn the tide of that game.
Mm.
And we've always been going at it with these little 2-1s and 1-1, and we got to get a last minute winner where no one really wanted to see Curtis running out on the pitch, not being able to create something or solidify the team. So in a weird way, that's what I'm saying. Is it the team that let him down, man, in his development, or is it just the manager thinking it'd have been beneficial keeping him around? Because I feel like I wouldn't be surprised if the same thing happened to Trey. Because if he's not coming in, like twice a month, getting a 5-10 minutes running, bro, he's not really going to develop in the right way. You're better off sending him out on loan so he can get the necessarily football week in, week out, so his body can develop that routine, work on his IQ, constantly scanning, things like that. So for me, I'm gonna say it's the team, bro. Yeah,
do you know what?
Man. Team got to develop the next generation, bro.
You know what? It could be that because Harvey went out alone, came back a bit more matured, a bit more on it, a bit more standout-ish. Obviously, we've now had, Morton that's gone out on loan. He did really well on his loan. Came back, hasn't really had the opportunities to show if he's actually learned. I thought he was really good against Brighton, but that's, since
but
then.
even Sepp, after that loan spell, Sepp came back a little bit more.
Bradley,
I was like, whoa,
Bradley's probably the best one as well. Like Bradley went out on loan and came back, and he's a monster now.
But you said it, and you just said it. Elliot went away and came back mature. I think the trouble you've got with Curtis is, and it's a crazy situation, he's always been mature. He didn't need to go on loan to learn that maturity. He's always been quite he's quite tall. He's not the most physical of guys, but he's always been able to hold on to the ball under pressure and stuff. So he's never necessarily needed that extra muscle and strength and stuff, the way he plays his game. And I think that for so long he's been so recognized within Liverpool under both management structures as such a talent and such a good student of the game and so mature that it's never quite been seen as beneficial to loan him out to gain them, off the pitch sort of skills, their interpersonal skills, because he's always, worked hard. He's always had skill. He's always had ability. He's clearly impressed in training. I think the trouble for him for so long has been he's always remained that great 15th, 16th option in your squad. He's too good to let go, but you could see how a loan would benefit him so he could play football, but he's also too much of a good option just in case we need to rotate him in. And he's left him in that kind of position where he has to be great now to make a breakthrough because he's not going to get loaned out. And he's kind of, with the injuries added in, never really had that sustained period of time to get that breakthrough. And whenever he has, you're like, we've sat here before and said, Jesus, these Curtis performances are great. Like, he's held his own in the team, and he deserves, we've spoken, we've done, build up to games, and we're like, let's put Curtis in. I think he's performing so well at the minute. Then he falls out through injury. So I just think he's always been good enough to stay and good enough to not be loaned, but then not quite good enough to sustain a figurehead in the side, and he kind of fell in that in between kind of spot. And people always, when fans have spoken about maybe selling him and things like that, there's no real point because he's never put performances together to generate a real massive fee, right? And also, he's not on a particularly he's never been on a particularly big wage, so him being here has never impacted you in the business side of things as well. Plus he's a local lad and everything else that comes with it. So he's just one of those players that's kind of fell into like the middle ground of being a really good footballer, but not quite being good enough or not quite being bad enough to twist. Every manager and every coach is just stuck with him, So let's hope that he gets a breakthrough, because it could have gone the other way, whereby continues to get these injuries, performances don't really pick up, and he just ends up at a lesser club, and that's it. You don't hear of Curtis Jones anymore, but clearly he's got more ability than that to still be at Liverpool, So
is he better than Bellingham and Declan Rice?
Here's the thing, and I think this might sum it up. before Bellingham went to Dortmund,
Mm.
Curtis was sitting around at Liverpool twiddling his thumb and getting eye injuries and that. Bellingham went to the Bundesliga and run his socks off.
Mm.
So yeah, he has raw ability, but how much did he add to that in the 6 years? Like you said, that gray area, Cav, you don't get a lot of XP sitting around in the gray area. So
Yeah.
Bellingham ended up surpassing him on that front.
Mm.
And that's why a lot of people put Gravenberch behind him when Gravenberch came in, because there was the same thing for Gravenberch. Wonder kid, went to Bayern, went and twiddled his thumb. Come to Liverpool, get a little bit more regular minutes, you know what I'm saying, shake off the dust. All of a sudden, the wonder kid has reawoken. Curtis was a wonder kid for us. But what did we do with our wonder kid? We just have him there, bro. You know that song, This Little Light of Mine? Yeah, Curtis light never shined, bro. It never shined. We just had it here at Liverpool. Wonderful talent. It just never shined, bro. So when you put him up there against Bellingham, I'm going to say at one point, yes. But Bellingham went ahead and blazed his light a lot brighter. Rice had always been sort of like that young man. So if Jones was over at West Ham at 17, I feel like he would have been on Declan Rice level as well, because they would have looked to him as the savior for that level. Curtis could be the savior of most teams in the Prem, you know, the same way Rice was. But once again, never been given an opportunity. So when you're talking about untapped potential, yeah, I think he's up there with both of them guys. It's just them guys had run-ins and moments and seasons to work on their game, drag their team, be that dependable guy. Curtis, like I said, if Klopp brought Curtis on in a 2-0 win, we're like, what is he doing? Saving man's legs? We're not looking for Curtis to be that. Elliot came in and become that. So
yeah,
man said Jones or Smith Rowe, you know, it's like that, bro. It's looking like that.
I think the thing for Curtis as well is he's obviously a local lad and he's never left Liverpool, so he's never had that move or his name in the papers enough to really elevate his name, you know. Whereas Jude, you know, plays for Birmingham, performs really well. They retire his shirt. He's on a one-man mission, you know. He's saying, forget the team. This is about me as a footballer. This is about my story and my journey. He's mapped out his journey. Maybe he didn't know when he was at Birmingham that he would go to Dortmund specifically, but he clearly knew that he was going to move up a level, and he clearly knew that that level was going to be a stepping stone to get to the biggest club in the world. That was his journey. That was what he set out for himself. That was his motivation. So he goes to Dortmund. He's incredibly motivated, performs well, you know, and a couple of injuries, but manages to play well enough to then get to Madrid, right? We've all witnessed that journey. But every single time, you know, retiring the shirt. I remember the first time I heard about Jude, I remember someone mentioned him playing well at Birmingham, but it was really when they retired his shirt. I was like, what? That's crazy. He's how old? But it's a story. But it's a story, and then it's an Englishman going abroad, which doesn't happen too often. Not only going abroad, but then being successful abroad. Again, another story. Building the profile now in the papers more. Gets into the England side. Now he's playing so well that he's going to Madrid, arguably the biggest club in the world. So his journey has constantly been in the papers, constantly been watched by every fan, not just a Jude fan, not just a Birmingham fan, not just a Dortmund fan. Everybody is watching Jude and his rise, right? Curtis Jones probably had the ability, but he never made the move away from Liverpool. He never set out to be on his own path. He's always just been, let's see how things play out at Liverpool. I'm gonna develop my game. I'm gonna listen to the coaches that are around me. I'm gonna stay humble, but never really had that selfishness.
You think it's because he had that one club mentality where other players just want to be the best in the world, but you can
sometimes
be the best at your club.
Exactly, but not so much the one club mentality thing, but where Curtis Jones perhaps would have got more plaudits than he does now is if you look at Bernardo Silva for Man City, right? Completely different journey, right? Monaco to Man City and so on and so on. But he's a player that you could probably liken to Curtis Jones, where you think probably doesn't contribute with loads of goals and assists, but does pop up every now and again. But he's a player in the side that you're just like, he's really good though. You know, he's really good. You pick him every week because he's ball retention, he's working hard, he does what the manager asks of him. And there's better people in the side. There's probably people in the side you'd say are better defensively and going forward and get goals and assists. But we need this guy in the team. Curtis could probably be that player, right? But what Bernardo Silva has is he's won stuff. So suddenly we don't forget about Bernardo Silva because Man City have won things. We look at it and go, what's great about that team? What we're starting to ask questions of what makes them so good. And you stumble upon the answer of Bernardo Silva amongst De Bruyne and the rest. Bernardo Silva. But if Man City hadn't won things, you'd just be like, Bernardo Silva's a good player, but that's kind of it. You know, and I think Curtis Jones probably could have had a similar journey to him if Liverpool had won titles. If Liverpool had won the Premier League the couple of times they missed out by a point and so, and they'd have won that one more Champions League final, and they're sitting here with more trophies, rival fans and media and everybody else would be analysing those teams a bit more than they perhaps did. And part of the reason they'd have won it is because of the performances that Curtis Jones puts in a similar way to Bernardo, where he's just a great player and he's an enabler, but he's not your goal getter and he's not your most reliable person defensively. He's just that guy in between. So I do partly feel like it's Liverpool's success or lack of, you know, in our good, you know, period of time that's probably meant that Curtis Jones almost been a little bit of a forgotten man outside of Liverpool fans, you know, whereas, like I say, I remember when we did win the title and we were all suddenly like, you know, Shaqiri's a good player, you know.
Yeah.
Well, yes, he weren't the main guy. He wasn't the main guy, but he contributed in moments. He was actually really good when he stepped in. And when we won the league title, everybody was like, damn, Shaqiri's good. I know he's done stuff.
Yeah, we said that was good business. 13 million.
Exactly.
There.
And
but
I
it's
just
because of that impact I mentioned
exactly.
earlier. Curtis,
but he did play
them.
Yeah, but has he? He's had good performances. He's contributed to goals and assists, but it's never led to. It's never led. I think in them good moments, had it led to more trophies at the end of the season or big trophies at the end of the season, you look back and you appreciate them more. But because in them seasons where he's been good, Liverpool ultimately haven't won anything, so you kind of forget it. The only thing you remember is that Virgil was incredible defensively, Alisson was a good goalkeeper, and Mo Salah is the guy that get goals and assists. You kind of forget about everybody else because it didn't lead to anything, you know. And I think
three things: Champions League quarterfinal moment, Champions League semifinal moment, Champions League final moment. Because here's the thing: we've been in these finals. Curtis was around the team, fam.
Yeah.
So back to what I'm talking about. When you're given opportunity, you have to be prepared because that's where you're gonna succeed, man. Like he's been here around all of that. Yeah, I know we've come runner up in that, but imagine if he was the guy that we're looking back at now and be like, yo, I don't think we would have won it if Curtis hadn't of whatever. You know what I'm trying to say?
That's the key point.
I'm not blaming them for not winning them leagues. But when you think about it from that perspective, it's like, yo, we've came runner up twice. Okay, but what was Curtis doing? You see what I'm trying to say? I'm not like putting it on him because if I had to put it on a player, I'll put it on Salah probably. But Curtis, bro, he was here. Those are the moments you're like, yo, you remember when Curtis, one of them draws, it was like, yo, Curtis, stop that from being a draw.
Maybe he's on that path now, though, isn't he? He got in the seat in the Champions League for England, winner against Chelsea. I think it's shifting now. He might be on that little path now where he's going to be picking up man of the matches and, you know, kicking someone out that midfield three.
Yeah, and I know that there's obviously wonder kids in the world, and Zabiru, you spoke about how long he's been here, and that, you know, players like Foden at 16 were just, you know, came out of nowhere, and they just are doing things that catches the eye and stuff. And Curtis hasn't had that journey so far, but actually, I think a lot of footballers, especially midfielders, their better performances come later on in their careers, and I think Curtis, from this point onwards, could probably have his best years as a footballer now. You know, I know it's compared to the Fodens and the Musialas and all these players, it looks like it's too late in the day for him. But compare him to all the others and put the wonder kids aside, he's still got plenty of time on his side to go and, now start performing and putting himself on that stage. So I think that he's one of those that from now for the next few years, you'll start to see the best of Curtis. Obviously, the style that Slot wants to play plays a part in that as well. Because let's not forget, Klopp's style suits some players and doesn't others. And I think Curtis has worked really hard to still be a part of it and be good enough. But truthfully, it probably isn't a style that suits his game. And for most of his time in the Liverpool first team or around the Liverpool first team, that's what Klopp's been in, and that's been the style. Now we've got Slot. It's a bit more of a controlled game. Well, hey, that works straight into Curtis's hands. It plays into a style that he more naturally plays. So it makes sense that he's going to be one of the players under this system that begins to thrive. We all said it, didn't we? In pre-season, there's going to be players that really struggle with this, and there's going to be players that really stand out. And Curtis is one of those where I think you're going to start to see now for the rest of the season. Hopefully he stays fit, where you're like, yeah, he's really benefiting from this system. Damn, we were able to, it's not just Liverpool fans saying how talented he is. Actually, the world stage is starting to see how good he is, And Liverpool back in the Champions League plays its part as well, obviously.
It's so crazy when we have conversation and Klopp gets brought up. We're very close. We don't try and rock the boat too much because we don't want to diss the old coach. He said it, man. This is a style he likes on the Carsley as well for the under-21s. The reason why he was so successful and the way, because that's the type of football they were playing, the double pivot with him and Angel Gomez. So it's interesting, man. It's interesting. Last question, though, lads. Last question. Can Curtis Jones hit a world-class level?
The only way... Go on then, Zoom. You because I was gonna flower it up a little bit.
I'm gonna have to say no.
You take this one. You take it.
Yeah, no. Let me say no. And the reason why I say no, it's not an indictment on him, because a lot of people wouldn't say Genie's a world-class midfielder because you can only play with the team you're in, right? And let me show you what that looks like. Like I said, if Elliott steps up when he gets back fit and be like a mainstay in the 10, and it's just him and Sabazalai, and then McAllister picks up, which a lot of people hoping he picks up and become that world-class player that people are putting him to be. I can't see Jones topping those performances. He's going to have to do something in the Champions League. That's a world stage. He's going to have to do something for England. So you see how England always sniffing there about semi-final, finals, and can't overcome it. Jones would have to be that guy to help them overcome that. You see how we've been sniffing seconds and 1 point off. Jones would have to be the guy to help us overcome that. And when I say Jones, I'm talking like, we know without him, it couldn't have happened. So you see how we're top of the league and we're like, we wouldn't have been in top of the league without Gravenberch. Jones' name needs to be that name. You see how we come in and I'm like, the man of the match for me was Pickford. And you man said, nah, it's Jones. Bro, he has to come in and take the reins that way. Put his name in the paper, not just the team name, but put your name in the paper. Jones led Liverpool to whatever. Jones led England to. If your name ain't that, bro, man is always going to debate whether or not you're world-class. And for me, if man's debating whether or not you're world-class, you're not world-class. Like your name gotta say, bro. What they say, Bellingham and Dortmund. Bellingham bringing Dortmund. That's what they were saying about Bellingham, fam. That's what they're saying. Mbappe and friends. Like every world-class player. That's how every world-class player becomes world-class, by dragging your team to victory. Elliott dragged us out the mud as an impact sub, and we've given him impact sub. Man said, I want to be more than that. All right, Elliott. Go ahead and show us what you can do. For Jones, that's staying in the pocket. Yes, sir. What do you want me to do? Anything, sir? Because I don't want to leave Liverpool mentality. Bro, he's going to have to step over that, bro. Because we said Gerrard, Captain Fantastic. I don't know if Curtis can be Captain Fantastic 5 years from now. So that's what I'm talking about. He's going to have that. You don't become world-class because you're in a world-class team. You yourself have to be world class.
That's the key. That's the key part. Yeah, you put it well there, Zubiri. I think the only way we have the conversation about is Curtis Jones world class is if Liverpool win something, as in the Premier League or the Champions League. The truth of the matter is, if Liverpool go on to win these things, Curtis will probably play his part, but he won't be the main standout figure. You know, it will be Virgil, it will be Salah, or another. But it's unlikely to be Curtis Jones.
It could. And then if it is
Of course
him,
it could. Yeah.
then no one can deny him of the status. But if we win it and he missed 15 games while we went on and win it, bro, it doesn't matter if he is world class. We won't give it to him, bro. You wasn't there for 15 important games. You see what I'm trying to say? So that look at Ox, Brewster. That man been here will win stuff. They weren't really part of it.
But I also he doesn't strike me as somebody that's got that kind of motivation either. Like, of course, every footballer wants to be the best in the world, right? But his career so far, the way he talks, the fact that he hasn't pushed through a move and stuff, it's not a criticism. It's just he's not striked me as that guy that's like, I'm out here to be the best footballer in the world. I'm out here to try and win a Ballon d'Or. You know, I'm out here trying to get all the trophies I possibly can by any means. You know, that's not been his mindset. He is one of those guys that's just, I'm going to go about my business and see where it takes me. And it's that different mindset that the best players in the world do have. You know, if you look at Mo Salah, you know, just that relentless mentality, made a few moves, but has that drive and that, you know, that thing that says nothing's going to stop me, you know, no matter what. I'm going to do absolutely everything within my power to be the best player in this team, this best player in my position in world football. I'm going to give everything that I possibly can. I'm going to devote my life to winning these major honors. You know,
is Michael Carrick world class to you guys?
No. I think he played. There was one season where I think he hit that level, but it wasn't a consistent thing where the following year he did. And I can't remember but I just remember there was one year Michael Carrick in the middle of Man United midfield. It was unplayable, man.
No, so that's why I asked the question. I feel like that could be more of what Curtis is. Have some moments where you're like, yo, this fucking guy, man, out of this world. And then there's bigger names and bigger impact being made by other players that kind of overshadow that. So whether or not Michael Carrick was like a 7.5 to an 8.5 most games, there was men in that midfield dropping your 9s and your 10s, and you're like, yo, rah. I feel like Curtis can be that. And it wouldn't even be a diss to him, but just to show you, like, he could be around a Liverpool team doing bits season in, season out. When that guy's low, Curtis is on the high and carrying us across that line. I can see him doing that for us, winning, dominating, and he's never really the one capturing the Ballon d'Or list or nothing like that. But we would have known, yo, couldn't have done it without Curtis. You know, nah, man, the game is getting away from us. Put Curtis in there. Like, he will be that for us, bro. But I don't think we'll like run over the top and say world class unless he himself said, fine, I'll do it myself and grab the gauntlet, fam.
Gee, big up, man. Appreciate you jumping in, bro. We was about to head out, but might as well answer the question about the world class level. And great engagement from the guys in the chat as well, man. Love for the love, as always. What do you think, man? Can he hit that world class level? CJ from Grove Street.
Big up Kev, big up Zabiri first and foremost.
Big up G.
I was listening literally on the way back. I was listening to you. Good conversation, man, about CJ. Can he hit the level? I think anybody can, I'll be honest, because I don't think anybody looked at Rodri 6 years ago and said, yeah, I think like this guy's gonna be this Ballon d'Or winner. Do you know what I mean? So I think world-class level, anybody can kind of obtain that. It's just Zabiri, I think that was actually perfect what you mentioned there about the Carrick thing, because you got me thinking about that now, is that Carrick is still a baller. No one can tell me otherwise. Like, he is an absolute baller. But if we were to list midfielders, you know, during that era, Carrick might end up a bit low on that list. But that's not to say that Carrick wasn't a baller, though. Like, we all know he was. Like, we all know. I
rate him too, you know.
Yeah, bro, he was so good. But unfortunately, and Curtis might be unfortunate for Curtis as well. You're coming in an era where there's too many high profile names, but also guys who are doing it on such a massive stage. You're gonna get overshadowed regardless, kind of thing. But all in all, I would say, yeah, he can hit anyone. I think anyone can hit world class levels. It's just about your consistency, really and truly. Can you keep up that level? Because remember, when we say world class, you don't have to be like you just need to be world class. Like there's tiers to it, I guess, within there, but you don't have to be like Mo Salah world class. You just need to be a world class kind of individual. Do you get what I'm trying to say? You just need to be someone who is just consistent at what you do, and hopefully, obviously, that then impacts what the team does, moving forward and stuff like that. But he can hit that. He can hit that. He just needs to. I think he just needs to be a bit more. Maybe now he's doing it, and maybe it will happen, but. With all like the injuries and stuff like that, I do think that is a lot to do with mentality as well. When it comes to certain injuries anyway. But when you break down quite a lot of that is a mental thing. And I think once he kind of overcomes that and you start to kick into gear as a footballer in terms of understanding that, no, I can really push on here. I can really be one of the greats, for my team first and foremost. And then we'll start looking at it, in terms of retrospects for the whole world. I promise you, he could easily get there. Like I can't say he can never be world class. Of course he can. I mean, he's got the ability to be a world class player. I heard that Cav mentioned about Bernardo Silva. Bernardo Silva's a world class player. I feel like you're right, Cav. They're both quite similar in terms of play style. So why can't he be a world class player in the future? You know what I mean? Bernardo Silva wasn't world class before he came to Manchester City. It was that consistency level, though. It was understanding that you take Bernardo Silva out of the team. It does look a little bit different. Not worse, not like crazy bad, but it does look different. But guess what? There's still Rodri, there's still KDB, there's still Haaland. So there's still players who we would consider to be quote unquote better, but they'll miss Bernardo Silva. I think Curtis Jones can be that in the future. So yeah, man.
I mean, Bernardo Silva's been available, hasn't he? And he has played different positions. And had Curtis had been as available as Bernardo Silva had, would Liverpool have gone on to win a Premier League more or a Champions League more? I don't know, possibly. You can see that through, that ability and the fact that he has performed at times and got into really good form where we are picking him in that starting 11 regularly. We're not taking him out all but for the injuries. You kind of think, well, if them injuries didn't happen and he was performing as he has been for an entire season, like Bernardo Silva gave Man City, could we have won another title? Because if you think the answer to that question is yes, then that kind of tells you all you need to know, because although he's probably not the best player in the team, he was that enabler and he enabled everybody else to perform, and that enabled us to go and win a major honour. So then you start to talk about more seriously, is he world class? But because he's not been able to do that, we kind of can't have that conversation just yet. But I think yesterday shown, I know it was only against Greece, but yesterday showed that with the likes of Jude Bellingham on the pitch and stuff, that Curtis Jones can still shine, and he's shown that. He's shown that in his performance, and he's shown that ability and that skill, and that, it's his debut and it didn't faze him. So, if he can continue to put in performances like that, I think it's fair to start talking about him a lot more seriously. Maybe world class is a bit premature, but one of the best midfielders in the Premier League, maybe one of the best midfielders in the Champions League this season. Yeah, quite possibly if you keep replicating the performance you did last night. So, yeah, he's shown us enough times that he's got the capability. And I think that's important. We're not talking about a player that's showing it in moments of the game or just coming in and doing an admirable job. No, he's putting, man in the match performances. So it's like, just continue to do that, continue that level of performance and don't drop below it. Because if you do that consistently, this conversation about world class and stuff can be taken more seriously, probably in a year or two's time.
No, fairs. Guys, we'll leave it there, man. G, Cav, Idiri, always great to chop it up with you guys, man. I think the conversation was so gold, man. Honestly, so much knowledge.
I can't, like, listening on the way back. Like, I was like, yo, I need to get home kind of quick. Like, I need to skirt on the roads, like, because what's going on, this and that, man. But no, it was a really, really good. Guys, you need to smash the like, man. It was a good conversation, man. Really good.
I'd love, just before we head out, one thing I'd love just to really I'd love Curtis to perform really well in the Champions League. That European managers and other media outlets around the globe assess Curtis Jones, and I want to see their take, because we've heard it so often said that like he's almost like a Spanish footballer. He's like a footballer that would slot straight into these European sides. So I want to hear their takes on him. You know, and obviously, I don't think they're really going to talk about him unless Liverpool start to continue this success, right? But I don't think the English media are quite going to tell the true story about what Curtis Jones is as a footballer, quite like the European or the world media outlets will. So I'm really intrigued to see, you know, how they're going to start assessing this game, because I remember when Jack Wilshere was good, and it was famously said, yeah, but Spain have hundreds of them midfielders. And you're like, okay, fine. You know, who are we to disagree? You know, is it a golden generation for Spain? You accept that opinion. But if they said the same about Curtis now, I'd be like, okay, probably quite true. There's some good Spanish midfielders in there, right? Gavi, Pedri, and all these guys. Yeah. But actually, the response could be that no, he's good. And if I start hearing them noise coming out from the continent, then I'm going to be like, okay, maybe he is. Maybe the English media are doing Curtis Jones a disservice. Maybe we should just recognize that actually he is a lot more of a cultured footballer than we probably appreciate. Because that's always been the slight thing with him. So I hope he performs well. I hope he performs well in the Champions League, and I hope that I can hear some different takes from different angles on Curtis Jones's game, and maybe it might get people to sit up a little bit more and think, oh, he's not just a basic footballer. Actually, he's got a lot more to him than maybe we appreciate.
Nah, fairs, man. I put a poll in the chat as well before we got started. You know, who's the better player, Jones, Bellingham, or Rice? For some reason, Curtis Jones has won it 40.
Yo, no, don't give it that for some reason. Man said for some reason, you know.
Hey, it's official. The people have spoken.
Hey, over 50 people voted, bro, and they said Curtis Jones is better than Bellingham. Who voted for Declan Rice? He got 4%. Which one of you guys decided to jump in and voted for Declan Rice? Nah, that's deep still. Listen, guys, if you disagree, agree with any of the questions we asked today, man, leave it down in the comments down below, man. It's great conversation, as always. Guys, if you need any more content, man, you know what I mean? I'm working hard over on the Day After podcast as well. Plenty of videos dropping. Do you know what I've done now? I've scheduled videos to be dropped at 5 p.m. every day. So there's content being dropped every day. So make sure you guys go on the show that support over there. You guys are going to be redirected to Northside. Let him know who sent you, man. You know what I mean? He's always cooking his own team. Arsenal, by the way. He might as well be a Liverpool fan at this rate, man. People hate him. People love him. Go ahead over there, man. Go listen to what he has to say. Cav, Zabiri, G, love for the love as always, man. Chat. We're